Thatcher told us it's getting to the point where he could have a conversation with the coach about backing up or playing. Would the coach like to have that conversation?
Yeah. For me, for Demmer, he's looked really good in practice. He's in a good space right now, and when he comes and he's ready to go, I'm all for it. He's a huge part of our team.
You want to play him tomorrow?
I'd like to play him anytime I can get him. No, listen. When he comes to me, we'll cross that bridge.
Has it been hard from a coaching standpoint to be patient? I know Kevin's played great, so that's made everything easier. But is it hard to be patient when you see a guy in practice and you've told us several times how good he's looked in practice, and yet you still don't know when he might play? How hard is that?
Well, I played for Jim Schoenfeld. I remember Shoney used to tell me, as a coach, you go into games who you have, and you can't worry about who you don't have. That process will happen. I don't try to worry about that stuff. I only worry about today. Now, obviously, I know what's going on and when the guy can come back. I get that part, but I can't worry about that stuff. I got to focus on the guys I have. That's the approach you have to have. I remember Shoney used to tell me that.
Rick, what do we make of the fact that he was one of two goalies out there today? Sort of where was Artie in all of this?
Yeah, well, you listen, when a guy's getting close, you want him to have the net. Obviously, Lanks, you give him the net. So I think when you have three goalies, Marco can work on them early. You don't want a steady diet of it. We're going to have to figure something out after that. But for now, short term, Demmer's got to have the net, a full practice tonight. We can't have him sharing the net. And Lanks.
Quinn today?
Maintenance day. That was my decision, not his. He felt he could practice, but I wanted him off today.
Well, I know that there's a lot of voices on a decision as important as when Thatcher might come back, but ultimately, is it up to him once medical people say he's okay, which I presume they've said because he's been practicing a while? Is it up to him to come and tell you, I'm ready to go?
Yeah, I think it's individual based. From my experience, Thatcher's not a guy that he knows his body. His work ethic is next to none that I've ever coached. So he has a latitude for me as some guys you have to push. I don't think you push him. He's going to, trust me, he wants to play. So when he comes to me and he's ready, he's ready. So that's the way I approach it with Thatcher.
Rick, when you look at this team, the discrepancy between the home and the road, how do you explain it?
Yeah, I think it comes in your head now. I look at our home record, and I was pissed a couple, you guys know 3 weeks ago. There's been pockets of our game not good. But there's been some good stuff. So we were a good home team last year. So I think it's in some of our head a little bit. Maybe it's some preparation. We got to adjust. Maybe it's on me to switch some things I told you guys about. I don't want to make it a big deal of it. It's what are we, 3-5-2 or something like that. It's is it a big enough sample size? Yeah, but I don't think it's a concerning where we're going into Columbus. Oh my God, we better play well. It's a home game. I think I don't want that in the guys' heads. I just want them to have the identity that we've started to create here the last 5-6 games, the same at home.
Is it important to have some success on this road trip just so that it doesn't get into guys' heads?
Well, I think this road trip, so we had some key guys that played some, key moments for us. We had good goaltending. We were behind. We came back. We were ahead, and we had kept. There's a little bit of everything. Does that help coming home? Yeah, because if we can have that same mentality at home, you have a better chance of winning.
Talk a little bit about that next man up. I mean, no JT, Brock was out for a bit, no Demko, of course, for all year long. It just seems like whoever you put in the lineup is really stepping up and getting the job done for you. Yeah,
I think it's important. That's why you have your base, your system. You got to rely, when things don't go well, can you fall back on your system? I think the guys have done that. You're going to have some guys that struggle, and when they struggle, can you stay with the system? Sometimes when guys struggle, they become individuals. I felt that the guys that have struggled have stayed in the system part, and that's a good thing. So that's the way I look at it. But I see a lot of guys, even some of the guys that were struggling a while ago, they're coming out of it. You can see that they're getting their game together. So that's a good thing for us.
Calling out McWard, giving 5 right shot defensemen out there today. What's the thinking there?
Yeah, I think it's important. Abby's like an hour away. I think it's important to get these guys up and practice with us. Let Mackey come out the same thing. I think it's important. Whether they stay or not. That's a roster thing. I'll talk to Patrick, but I think it's important that these guys practice with us.
One guy that has stayed is Max Sasson. What have you liked from what he's given you since you brought him up?
Yeah, I liked his first 2 games. I think with guys like that, there's a sustainability. But I want to see him at center. I might put him at center tomorrow. I'm contemplating it because I think he's got some speed. So we'll see. I might have him at center tomorrow. But I've liked pockets of his game. I really have. And it's tough. Like sometimes when I shorten the bench, a guy's sitting there for 8 minutes. That's hard to do. It's a hard, but that's the world we live in. You're going to have to make sure that you're not a liability if you sit there for 8 minutes and go on the ice. And I think that, especially last game, I think they played 9 minutes. I thought he did a nice job when it came to that situation.
You talk about it being sort of a challenge for those guys to find consistency.
Yeah.
How nice is it that you have multiple guys in Abbotsford that you can call upon, whether it's him or Baines or Leckermacki or whoever it might be, to rotate them through if consistency is an issue for them?
Well, we got some options. We're looking for an identity in that fourth line. There's Giuseppe. He's hurt right now, but he's viable later. Carlson. I mean, he's a guy that down low can hold on to pucks. He's a menace in front. Baines. Can he find his game? We got some options. Sass now. Rats. The same thing. Nothing's guaranteed, but we at least have 5 or 6 guys that can somebody find their identity. Can you hold pucks? Can you be really good on the forecheck? Can you be a penalty killer? Like Deej is a penalty killer. So sometimes you look at special teams upper hand. Lettermacki, if he gets caught, he's a power play guy. So these are the things you got to look at. That's part of their identity.
So when you come back from a long Eastern road trip like that, what are the challenges for guys in terms of readjusting and all of that? How hard is that?
It's hard. It's a mental thing for me, though. It told the players today, we got to play uncomfortable tomorrow. I thought it's the typical coach's handbook. I practiced the first 20 was a little sloppy. And it's kind of, and my point is, why does it have to be sloppy? So I think it's preparation. So we were warned, we got to be ready tomorrow. We're playing a team that's really good off the rush. So make sure you're ready to play. We can't wait till the second period to get going. So it's a mental thing.
As a coach, though, do you have to readjust things in practice for the first couple of days?
Yeah. Whether you back off, whether my day tomorrow, how much video to show, how much not, individual meetings. I think I got to switch it up too. I can't keep doing the same thing because, I think it's important that these guys get something different, and it's up to me to help them out. I got to get.
Sorry.
No, you're
that
right.
was bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, Trevor.
That's good.
Other than Quinn, Lankinen would probably be your MVP. So what happens to him when Thatcher comes back?
Well, it's a good problem to have. We got a lot of games. There's going to be some lots of time for whoever in the net. But I don't even think of that right now. I just think I'm like Lanks. You just think of the game. I know we play Columbus. That's all I think about. He's playing, and we'll worry about that one at the bridge when that happens.
Where would you be without him to this point?
I don't know. All I know is he's sitting out a week before camp and whether he couldn't get a job. I don't know. I actually don't know the situation. All I know is that he's a fun guy to coach. The players love him. He's added a lot of character in that room too. Obviously his play has helped, but obviously he's a character guy.
There was a report out this morning. Sorry, there was a report out this morning that JT is back skating. Can you confirm that? And is there any sort of
skating? Yeah. He's been skating. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, like Jim said, it's between JTs. There's privacy and all that stuff, and I've talked to him, so we have a plan, and that's it. That's really what it's up to.
Switching pages for a moment, Four Nations face-off rosters came out.
Yeah. As
an assistant coach with the Canadian crew, what do you make of that roster?
Well, I think it's a great roster. I mean, there's always a couple guys that that get snubbed, and it's the same. The Americans, you can say that Finland. I was in those meetings trying to pick guys. It's tough because you're nitpicking over great players. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. Can't wait.
Did you have a role yesterday? Did you get to call anybody, or
What's
how did
that?
yesterday go for you in terms of the announcement? Was there any?
We had a bunch of Zoom calls last week or 2 weeks ago, so we knew the team about a week ago. I think we had this. They announced it, but I think 5 days ago was the. But the good thing about it, I mean, there's some good debates and arguments. It was fun to be part of that process, it was just fun. It was for that experience for me.
Tough to keep that secret?
What's
of
that?
who was on the roster?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Coop threatened me. So he threatened all of us, but yeah. I think it got out a day early, so I texted him. I blamed him. So, but yeah.
So with Lankinen and on the Four Nations, how good is it to see that, he is getting the recognition around the league for his strong start?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously biased, but I was like, I'd be shocked that he wasn't on it just from the way he's played for us. But yeah, no, I'm really proud of him. I mean, you're talking about a guy, like I said, he was out for a week at camp, didn't know where he was going to. All of a sudden now he's going to represent Finland. But he won 10 games there and on the road. Those are nice milestones for a guy.
And when we look at Lankinen's play, how beneficial has it been that he's been at this top level? So, there's no discussion of should we bring back Demko early and potentially risk another injury?
Well, it didn't matter what kind of goaltender we get. We're never going to rush Demmer. I mean, this guy's it's a long term with Demmer. So, we're never going to play a guy that's not ready to go. So, but Lankinen, the way he's played, obviously helps.
How do you like Noah Julesen's play lately?
I think Noah's been a really. I think it's unfair to judge Noah because he was playing the game and he'd be out for 5 games, and I think when he's played a bunch of games in a row, and you can see his game coming, and that's the hardest thing with these guys. I think it's hard to judge some guys because when you're in and out of the lineup and you make a mistake, the next mistake gets compounded. I find he's making less mistakes because he's getting more traction. And he's done a great job for us the last 2 years I've been here in playing that role.
How do you appreciate how he sacrifices his body?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing with those type of D. He's got to. He's got to be a shot blocker. He's got to be a simple, reliable guy, and he's got to be good at it and to stay in the league. And Ian Cole last year, and I had Ian Cole in Pittsburgh. Those guys eat pucks. That's a lot of courage. It's hard to sit in front of a 100-mile-an-hour shot, take one in the ribs. That's probably his hardest thing, other than taking a punch in the face. I would say that's second. So.
When you said you were contemplating Sasson at center, is that more that you want to see him at center, or does Ratu maybe hit a bit of a wall of any kind? Or?
No, I don't know if it's hitting a wall. I think sometimes you throw something fresh. I know he's played wing last year. I think it's just a freshness, and I'd like to see Sass. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but it's something I had him at center today. I wanted to see maybe him at center and see the pace he has for us.
What about Ratu? This is his second time you guys sent him down. He's back. He's been here for a little while now, but where are you with his? Yeah,
I think his work ethic is his best. Like for a young kid, he's the top I've ever had as a coach. I think his play now he's got to, and as the play goes on, I find he's at a fast pace where he's got to slow down the game in his mind. That's being a young kid. I mean, I would say that's the only thing. If I had to nitpick, he's got to know when to go and when not to go, and get himself good angles. But that comes with experience and that comes with time. And it's okay to sit out a couple of games. I don't, it's okay. It's not the end of the world.